The vibe with Shane Beamer is that, hey, he wants to be at South Carolina. But, he's got a lot of, what's the term I want to use? Not necessarily baggage, but he's got a lot of, history at Virginia Tech. Could there be a set not far down the line where it's, hey, Shane Beamer is here, but he builds South Carolina up and then decides, hey, I'm going to go on to Virginia Tech. Not saying he's already going to leave. I'm just saying, would that be a job that he would probably take later on? I know we're kind of, a little early in the process here, but still something interesting. Some of the weird way that my brain works out. That's the best way to do it. So anyway, if you'd like to join us on the show today, 803-978-1832. Some of the more interesting things from yesterday. Dan Mullen continues to be Dan Mullen. Of course, asking, is it legal, the stuff with Miami? That's interesting. Which, why would you ask that? Dan Mullen's just a winner when it comes to silly stuff. He was asked, made a comment about Georgia being the team to beat in the East. He said, didn't they say that last year? No, none of that. Crazy, right? Also, Ed Orgeron didn't really talk much about the Title IX lawsuit he's involved in. But the more interesting thing with that is that you thought he would address it slightly. Let's head out to the phones, 803-978-1832. And good afternoon. Welcome to the Rundown.
Hey, Rob. What's up?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, I was getting your thoughts on how you think Shane Beamer did it on his first SEC Media Day.
I thought he handled it well. I mean, a lot of times when you get in front of that many people, and he's a seasoned veteran when it comes with that, but I think that, in my opinion, he did really well. It wasn't anything that was, that it was confidence, and, it just seemed like, now it just seems like kind of the rubber's hitting the road a little bit. We had our last major league dose of Shane Beamer a little bit with signing day and things like that and spring practice, but now it's like, all right, everything is focused. Fall camp is coming. How much time? We'll learn a lot about him here shortly. Is he going to be like Coach Spurrier and, pass by on the golf cart every now and then? Is he going to do press every day? I mean, what's he going to do? And little things like that. How outgoing is he going to be with the media? We'll find that out. It wasn't anything crazy that with him. It was just, I thought, just a solid. I don't know how you can just say you judge SEC Media Days, but nothing bad.
Right.
Yep.
I'm like you. I thought he handled it pretty well, being a first-time head coach, but many years as assistant.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do anything to embarrass himself with the South Carolina program. I mean, it's first time up there. I mean, and look, a lot of times with media days and things like that, some of these coaches love it. Some of these coaches really love it. And then other coaches are like, all right, let's go and do this because we have to do it. So I think there's that. And then some coaches use it as a time to showcase their program too. So it all depends on how you look at it. But I thought Shane Beamer was fine yesterday.
I like what you said about Dan Mullen. That dude is a complete idiot.
He is definitely in the running for the Rundowns version of Turkey of the Year that we'll give away on Thanksgiving. He's right now is the head turkey, in my opinion.
I like it. Thanks, Rob.
Appreciate it, buddy. All right, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Blake says the problem with Greg Sankey is he says no makeup games, but then he will pick and choose what games get rescheduled. Look, I'm in the camp of, and this is just my opinion on this. I kind of like what Greg Sankey said. Okay? You have the capability to somewhat control yourself as far as getting COVID-19. There is a vaccine that's out there. Now, please don't call me and tell me things like, well, my brother said that if you get it, there's a chance that they'll inject a piece of metal into your body. That is stupid, absolutely ignorant and dumb. There is no way with a needle that size they can inject a piece of metal into your body so that Bill Gates can track you. That is dumb, absolutely ignorant, and it makes no sense. Okay? If you don't want to get the vaccine, it's your God-given right to not get it. But understand, if you get COVID, then it's your fault. It's the same way with the flu and everything else. Okay? So I like the way Commissioner Sankey said it. It's not a political thing because it's not. If you choose not to get the vaccine, then that's on you. Simple as that. Now, if people on the team choose to not get the vaccine, then that's on them. Now, you have to pay the consequences. If you don't have enough players, then you forfeit. It's just the way that it is. You forfeit the game. I don't understand. There are a lot of people that were given some craziness online about that. Fireval says the doctor told me that you have to get a booster shot every year for the rest of your life or a common cold could kill you. If that's what your doctor believes, man, and you want to follow that, then that's fine. I'm at the point, though, where if we want to get past the COVID-19 pandemic, then people are going to have to get vaccinated. And not to make it political, but President Trump said to get vaccinated. Still stands behind getting vaccinated. President Biden says get vaccinated. So whatever side of the political aisle that you're on, they're telling you get vaccinated. Just saying. If you're not doing it, then that's on you, and you have your right to do that. But if you get something from it, then you have to deal with the consequences. It's just the way that it is. So I didn't really have a problem with what what Commissioner Sankey said about that. So if you want to call up and talk about that, 803-978-1832. Please don't call and tell me, well, I have to do. Well, that's fine. Sure, you're right to do that. It's the administration's right at each school to do that too. To tell their kids, hey, you know what? You can take the vaccine or not. If I'm going in front of these young men, I'm going to tell them, look, for the betterment of the team, I would hope that you would take the vaccine. My job as a coach would be to tell them, hey, this is what's best probably for the program. Now, if they don't want to take it, then they don't have to take it. But when they come back and we have a breakout on the team and we're down 20 players, then that's it. We have to forfeit. It's part of it. Clemson Dave says, what if you don't need it? Well, how do you determine if you don't need it, sir? I'm not trying to be combative here. Or you have another condition that will prevent you from the vaccine. You should do whatever your doctor tells you to do. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the athletes that are on these teams. SEC Football Forever says, I spent 38 hours in the COVID war where my mother died with zero PPE and never caught it. My wife caught it, and I laid in bed and held her every night. I didn't catch it. Why should I get vaccinated? Because people that have lots and lots of medical degrees say that you should. So I tend to lean toward doctors when they say that. Just like you should get vaccinated for the other stuff too. I'm someone that had COVID last July. I thought for 7 days I was going to literally not be here. It was pretty bad. SEC Football Forever says, I have a medical degree. If you have a medical degree, sir, you have your right to do whatever it is you want to do. That's the whole thing. You can do whatever it is you want to do. But if you get COVID, then that's on you. It's the personal accountability thing, man. If there's an option for you to get the vaccination and you don't want to get it, then don't. But understand if you do get it and if you play on an SEC football team, Commissioner Sankey says, guess what? If it breaks out on your team and we're going to the Iron Bowl and it's Alabama and Auburn breaks out with COVID, They lose 15 players. They don't have enough players to compete. Congratulations, you've lost the Iron Bowl by forfeit. Simple as that. 803-978-1832. Blake says, what if you don't have a doctor to tell you whether you need it or not? You can find a doctor, sir. There are doctors everywhere. Jimmy says, makes a very valid point. Educate yourself and make a sound decision. Exactly. 803-978-1832. Clemson Dave says, doctor told my father that chemo would give him a few more years. Died 6 months later and caused a lot by the chemo. Doctors are human too and can make mistakes. You are absolutely right, sir. That's why you should make the decision that's best for you. I firmly believe in that. But when it comes to what Commissioner Sankey is dealing with, then that's what you've got to deal with. If it affects your team, you're going to have to forfeit. We're not going to reschedule games around that. Let's turn it the other way. What should he do? Because you choose not to get the vaccine, but 85% of the team does, and you're infected and we don't have you there. What is he supposed to do? 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. I don't understand why people were upset with Commissioner Sankey. They're going to be really upset when it comes back down to it and we have a team that has an outbreak of the COVID, and the only way that they can deal with it is to forfeit a game. Can you imagine it? Let's say that happened for the SEC championship game. Wow, what a mess that would be. Anyway, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Coach Orgeron yesterday said, when he was asked about the Title IX stuff by Thamel from Yahoo Sports, he goes, in the past few months, LSU as a school, the athletic department, you personally have been linked to serious sexual misconduct allegations. I know obviously there's some active lawsuits. I'm not so much asking you to comment on that. Specifically, as curious if the past few months you've had any takeaways in terms of change behavior and how you're going to maybe act differently as a coach handling such situations in the future. Orgeron said, that's something I'm not going to comment on. It's an ongoing investigation, and I'm not going to comment on any of that. Thanks for asking, though. There you go with that. Basically, he knew that he was going to get asked that question and had nothing. Let's see here. Clemson Dave says they let Magic Johnson play with HIV. Do you believe COVID is worse than AIDS? Well, first of all, HIV is not AIDS. But I don't, I'm not sure where he's going with that. Brock says put a bye week prior to the SEC championship so that if teams are needing to play another game, they can do it then. Yes, I kind of agree with that, Brock. The SEC, the week before rivalry week is garbage week. And with that, what I mean by that is you have a bunch of games that no one cares about. So with that, get rid of that week and just make it a bye week. 803-978-1832. If you want to respond to what Coach Sankey said, or excuse me, with what Commissioner Sankey said, and once again, make the decision that's best for you. But if you are an SEC athlete, know that that this is something that could possibly affect your team. And he said you're going to have to forfeit games if you don't have enough. They're not going to reschedule. We'll see how that works out. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Fireball says, how do you think that Heupel did? Heupel did okay, I guess. Nobody really did anything that was silly. And I've got my notes here with the stuff with Coach Orgeron and everything else with what he said. I would have probably handled it a little bit different than what he did, but he's trapped in the land of legal mumbo jumbo. If he didn't do anything wrong, he should have came out and said, hey, we value women here at the LSU football program. We're going to treat them equally, etc. And that's what I would have done. But I'm not Coach O. All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll have more for you here on the rundown. Taking your calls at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. This is the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Look, Clemson Dave and SEC football forever. I appreciate your passion. I'm just talking about the team. If you don't want to get the vaccine, man, that's on you. Don't get it. I'll be right back. Let me get my water. That's a good point too, Brock. I already talked about that, Brandon. Check out the podcast, man. Thought he did great. That's a valid point, sir. I appreciate that. We'll highlight that point. I'll mention that on the air when I come back in just a moment. That's fair too. But understand, that's where they're going to go. Yeah, but I'm not trying to be short with you, Brandon. It's just everybody else has already heard it, brother. So. Eight 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call. Some comments. Clemson Dave says too many drugs that were given in the past now are on recall, and the company is being sued. For example, Zantac. So what they developed in the past year is safe. I doubt it. Hey, man, make the choice of what you want to do. Let's make sure we put that out there. Joseph says, get your shot so we can be at Billy Bryce watching the Tigers beat South Carolina by 40 in November. SEC football forever with a good comment here. I don't want young athletes feeling pressure to inject a foreign substance into their body they don't feel comfortable with by a program that isn't even compensating them for what they're asked to do. That's great. I mean, I get what you're saying. And it all comes down to what you personally believe in. If you don't think that it works, then that's fine. But understand that the commissioner of the SEC said you're going to forfeit games if it comes down to it. We'll take your calls on that at 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832 is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown. Stuff with Coach Orgeron, the more and more I look at the stuff with him, And I got a chance to really sit down and look at his stuff from yesterday. And man, he looks like a sitting duck, man. 803-978-1832. Another comment from SEC Football Forever. He just keeps writing good stuff. We may just name the show after him. I do think it has value for the elderly and at risk. I just feel bad for these kids having to take it when they're not at risk. I get with you on that, but on the other end of it, if you remember last season, Clemson did not have Trevor Lawrence at quarterback for their matchup with Notre Dame because of COVID-19. So there's that. Clemson Dave says, then why did those 5 Texas Democrats that fled and had the shot are now sick with COVID? There's different variants of it. It's just like the flu shot. The flu shot is different every year. So not trying to get into medical stuff here. And that's the thing too. It's not a positive or a negative thing. I mean, President Trump got COVID-19. It's not like COVID looks at you and says, okay, you're a member of the Dems or you're part of the GOP. Let's just go with today we're going to give it to the Dems. Or let's do a sports reference. Today we're going to give it to the New York Yankees. We're going to give it to the New York Yankees because Aaron Judge, they were talking about trading him to the Braves. So let's give it to the New York Yankees today. It's not like that, man. It's not a political thing, man. You do what you need to do as far as your vaccine goes, man. If you want to get it, get it. If you don't, don't. But Commissioner Sankey is basically putting, and it is pressure on these players and the coaches, the football staff, etc., to get the vaccine. Now, if you go to certain colleges, you got to have the vaccine to get in anyway. It's just the way that it is. Brandon, my buddy from the upstate, who will be at a lot of, who goes to a ton of high school games, said, I had COVID last July and it was the worst sickness I've ever had. I felt terrible for about 10 to 14 days. Yeah. It's not what you want. Not what you want. And Clemson Dave, I agree with you. Don't force it. I get that. I get that. I think there's a lot of misinformation on both sides as far as the vaccine goes. And I'm not sitting here trying to tell you, I'm to advise you on certain fronts, other than to say, if you believe that they're injecting you with a metal chip so Bill Gates can track you, then I have nothing for you. This program is far too advanced for you, and you probably shouldn't listen. Just saying. Okay? There's no way that could feasibly happen. All right? But if you don't want to get the vaccine, I mean, hey, it's on you. But if you get it, then you have to deal with the consequences of it. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832 is the number to call. I'm not trying to be combative and pissy with folks today on the radio. I love everybody that listens to the show, whether you listen in passing or whatever. That's fine. You don't have to believe in the vaccine. We can be friends. It's okay. Just make a decision on your own. But if you want to talk about what Commissioner Sankey said about how teams are going to forfeit, I guarantee you, if they do the whole percentage of teams that have it, by the time we get to, if we do a check at week 1, I'm willing to bet that 98% of the SEC will have gotten the vaccine as far as football players go. I firmly believe that. Edwin with a great comment online asked me if I paid my phone bill. I had to get a new phone. I cracked my old phone, and since I'm a klutz and I had like the third screen on it, my wife said maybe it's just time to get you a new phone. So I got my new phone as I'm showing it to the folks there. There you go, my brand new phone. Ta-da! All right, there you go. So I've got one of the new iPhones. I'm not used to it because I had the old iPhone where I could just touch it and it would open up. This one, I've got to like look at it and then it unlocks and then I touch it and it goes out and it's like whatever. So I'm not really used to that yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. 803-978-1832. Out to the phones we go. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Rundown.
Mr. Saunders,
Yes, sir.
how are you today?
I'm well, man. What can I do for you, sir?
Order fried chicken, extra crispy.
You act like I'm cooking. Come on, man.
I know you're trying to do a show, and I'm not trying to be combative today. I'm going to be nice.
Combative is my term, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, I stole that.
Yeah.
Did I steal? I didn't know you had
It's
the legal rights to that word.
It's
I
trademarked.
thought other people.
It's trademarked. My attorney, the law firm of Walton Swan, will be calling you.
I love lawsuits. Tell them to bring it.
What do you have for the show today, man?
Oh, I want to talk about, first of all, the NBA. I'm going with the Milwaukee Bucks. They'll win it at home and wrap it up tonight.
Well, this is why nobody likes you, but go ahead.
What?
I'm a Suns
Because
fan. You
I
know
pull
that.
for the Bucks.
You know I'm a
Because I pull
Suns
for the
fan.
Bucks.
You know I'm a Suns fan.
But of course I know that. But
All
let me explain something to me. They hate me because I'm a Clemson fan, not a Milwaukee fan.
Okay.
Everybody is jealous over Alabama and Clemson,
Okay. That's fair.
especially Georgia, your favorite.
I love Georgia fans, man. They're some special folks.
They're
Love
better
the
than
Georgia
South-
fans.
They're better than Gamecock fans,
I
aren't
mean, Georgia's the best team on the planet. Just ask their fans; they'll tell you.
they? The South Carolina thinks that.
No. Anyway, what else you got for the show, buddy?
The point spread of Georgia and Clemson, I'm looking at it. I think it's a -4 right now. Do you have an update?
Yeah, it's Clemson -4 right now.
Yeah, that's what. Now that game's going to be playing at Charlotte or Atlanta.
It's going to be in Charlotte. Game day is going to be on site, by the way.
That's good news for me to hear. Yes, I like it.
Fun fact for folks today: you can take this home and talk with your buddies later on today. The Clemson leads the country in appearances on College Game Day with 15. They have 15 total appearances on College Game Day. So, as far as that coverage from ESPN, it's all about Clemson up top.
Okay, so do you know who's in second on game day appearances?
I'd have to look at
It
that.
would
I got that from the ACC today, and Clemson's at number 15. So there you go.
I would guess Alabama or Ohio State.
Actually, I don't think it's Alabama as much because Alabama plays. They have essentially maybe two teams a year that would potentially be there. I mean, obviously the Iron Bowl, and then the LSU game. After that, I mean, the rest of their schedule is kind of hot dog water. You can make an argument for, and they're going to lean towards a lot of Big 10 and Big 12 teams too. So,
yeah, that's kind of a toss-up.
Yep.
Other than the two games you mentioned, it's a toss-up.
Other than the two games I mentioned, I think Alabama just stomps people. And why take game day to that?
Yeah, just like Clemson likes to stomp people too.
Yeah, but Clemson draws eyeballs right now, and I don't know.
I couldn't agree.
Maybe it's the orange helmet. Who knows?
Well, do you have time to talk about the schedule, Clemson's schedule?
I'm gonna have a full breakdown on that, man. I'm talking some SEC stuff today because we're gonna be in Charlotte tomorrow, though. Okay.
Okay, man. Take care.
All right, buddy. You have a great day. SEC football whatever says talk about Dan Mullen. What's my take on Florida? We'll give you that when we come back. This is the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Losing stuff, man. So here's the crazy thing, right? Everything like through my job goes, it's like if I'm checking my email, whatever, getting into the system, all of that, it all goes through my phone. Well, my phone was not working anymore. So I couldn't check my email last night. Couldn't do anything. It was a gong show. Insane. Yeah, if I call Uyangale the ukulele, I'm gonna have to quit. I'm with you on that, Dylan. That's a good point. Look, I'm going to give you this too. I've gotten my son vaccinated. He turns 15. My younger two children, I've not. So, yeah, Shane Beamer is recruiting. I mean, that's the way that it is. He is he's putting together some recruits. We can agree on that. This is Chris Collinsworth. Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network, presented by DraftKings. Keselowski is joining Roush Fenway Racing as driver owner. He'll take over the number 6 Ford on the NASCAR Cup Series next year. NC State linebacker Peyton Wilson is being mentioned among college. Yeah. If I call him the ukulele, that would be Kale would die. Jackpot would lose his mind. Download the DraftKings app and use code SPORTS to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. Edwin, you're probably right about that. I'm just telling you what the ACC told me today. So 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Someone asked me my opinion on the Florida Gators this year. They lose a lot. When you lose Kyle Trask and you lose Kyle Pitts, that's a big deal. Now, of course, Florida fans are going to tell you, oh, well, Emory Jones, big time, recruit for the program. Here's what I think. I think that they put up a lot of numbers with Trask, and Trask, I don't think was the kind of player that could make plays with his feet. He could do a little bit, but not with what they think Jones can do. We'll have to see about that. But I do think, if you remember at Mississippi State, and I know Blake's online watching over there, when Mullen was there, was it Nick Fitzgerald, the young man that could run the ball a little bit? Sometimes I think having that at quarterback could be something different from Florida. Now, I do think that Emory Jones is going to be a guy that I think it may take week 1 or week 2, but by week 3, they're going to have a constant spy on this guy, in my opinion. Because he's going to run off and just leave somebody. I believe that. I don't know how well he's going to throw the ball. We shall see. We shall see. So, with that, I think the offense is going to be interesting. DeMarcus Bowman, the young man that transferred from Clemson down to there, which, let's be honest, DeMarcus Bowman was an all-world type recruit at one point. 5-star player from Florida. Went up to Clemson. There was talk that he would be the next CJ Spiller. And, he got carries a little bit, but it's kind of hard to break through when you've got Travis Etienne, the ACC's all-time leading rusher, in front of you, and Lynn J. Dixon, who is a pretty good running back in his own right, the fact that he saw the field at all up there with the depth that Clemson has at running back is a big deal. Now, how will he shake out? We'll see. We'll see on that. You know, you never know until they actually get out onto the field. So with that, I think the offense will be good, but I do think they're going to be kind of a run-heavy offense. And when they do make a pass, it's going to be it's going to hurt. One of those passes you just didn't think was coming. I think it's going to be one of those type of offenses, in my opinion. The defense, I think that I've got my notes here. Ventrell Miller and Mohamed Diabate and Amari Burney combined for 206 tackles last season, with Miller, I think, being the guy that has the best NFL potential. So I think that stopping the run, they'll be pretty good. They do have their corners back, but their safeties are gone, so they're bringing in new safeties. So I think the Florida defense will probably be a wash. If you had to have me nail it down, I'd say they're probably going to finish middle of the pack in the SEC. The offense, I think, is going to be a top 5 offense. You know, here's one thing that we can say. You know, they beat Georgia last year, but I get the feeling that beating Georgia is like their Super Bowl, in my opinion. I really believe that with Florida, because obviously if they beat Georgia, then they're going to the SEC championship game, because the rest of the East is pretty much Now, they did draw LSU, which they normally have anyway, but they also drew Alabama. They get Alabama in week 2. So they're going to have a perfect SEC East run to make it happen. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there with the folks from Florida. But as far as on the SEC side goes, I think their offense will be in the top 5, defense will be in the top 8. So there you go with my picks with Florida. And I'm going to do, as we get closer, I think I'll pick every day what I think certain teams' records are going to be. And I'm going to do it in the last segment of each show. I'll pick each team where I think they're going to finish. So we'll have that for you as we roll along. Blake says Mark Stoops is talking right now. Looks like he put on a few pounds. He's talking about defense. Well, that's what Stoops knows. That's what Stoops knows. Mark Stoops needs to take every opportunity that he has, in my opinion, to anytime he steps up to a microphone, someone asks him a question about, hey, coach, what do you think of your favorite ice cream? He should say, you know what? I like chocolate ice cream, but you know what else I would like? I would like a decent quarterback to come to Kentucky, because if I had one, we would be a factor in the SEC East. Have you seen the defense we play? If you come in and you're able to complete 10-yard passes, we're going to be fine. So, hey, if you're a quarterback, come to Kentucky. I would literally, that's what I would do. I'm sure you're not supposed to use your time for all that, but that's what I would do. Kentucky is they're like the headless horseman. Lots and lots of great stuff, but no quarterback. 803-978-1832. SEC Football Forever says he sees 7 wins for Tennessee this year. I don't think so. I think I think a lot of people are in love with Tennessee, but I'm not feeling it. Not feeling it. Fireball says they have the deepest quarterback room in the SEC. More of the rundown when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Deepest quarterback room in the SEC. Okay. How about Andre Woodson? Jimmy says, can you say Tim Couch? How about Andre Woodson? I like Andre Woodson. I don't know how old some of y'all are. I really don't, but I think that I remember back in the day when Tennessee was really good. Everybody remember that? You know, Peyton Manning, T. Martin, all those guys. Just saying. You know, I don't know if I'm buying all that or not, man. I really don't. Oh my goodness. Brandon says he thinks Vanderbilt's going to beat Tennessee. You know what? The interesting thing for me with Tennessee is, though, I remember back, what was it, like 3 seasons ago? They didn't win a conference game. Let's read SEC football's comment here. For non-con, if they can beat Pitt. See, that's the thing. People shortchange Pitt. Pitt's not a bad team. I mean, I guess I could buy into that logic somewhat. I think South Carolina with their running game is going to they'll put a stop to all that, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to read all these comments. These are great comments about Tennessee, man. My goodness. Hey, if you guys have got questions for the folks, you'll beat Pitt by 3 scores. You want to make a bet on that Fireball? You're not beating Pitt by 3 scores. I will make you put your money down. That's not happening. You're not beating Pitt by 3 scores. Unless you're talking 3 safeties. Come on, man. Final segment of the rundown this afternoon here on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Thanks for calling and joining the show today, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Comment from SEC Football Forever online. You can follow the chat room there. 4 non-con games if they beat Pitt. 1 with Vandy. That's 5 wins easy. Kentucky and South Carolina are toss-ups, of course, referring to Tennessee here. Give them 1 there. That's 6 wins. 1 more upset makes 7. Vegas has the over and under at 6.5. If Tennessee wins 7 games, that should tell you how crummy the SEC East is. You can give money to people with in McDonald's bags, pretend that you're the Hamburglar, and change out your entire coaching staff, get rid of a Hall of Fame athletic director, have 25 players leave the team, and you still win 7 games. The SEC East is garbage. If that happens. Sorry. Some of the other lines from here. Let's see here. We were talking about how Tennessee didn't win a conference game a couple years ago. And Blake says Arkansas didn't win a conference game for 3 years. Their fans are wearing bags over their heads. Yes, but Arkansas doesn't have the tradition that Tennessee has. I mean, they won a national title, and you can still watch it in color, in color TV there. Dylan says he doesn't see Tennessee winning 7 games. Tennessee should be focused on trying to get to 6 wins. That's something else people aren't talking about either. What's going to come of everything that goes with it? So we'll see with that. Fireball says they're going to beat Pittsburgh by 3 scores, 45-17. Fireball is hitting the fireball early today. SEC, let's see here. Pitt has an outstanding defense. Vols will have to be loud and kneeling, and that up-tempo offense really needs to wear down Pitt defense. It'll be close, but he gives the win to the Vols. Jimmy says Arkansas won a national title. Yeah, but when was it? I mean, I know they won a national title, but Tennessee's won a title, 98? Something like that. And I'm waiting to see exactly what Brock said. What's the NCAA going to do to Tennessee? What are they going to do? We'll see with all that. Someone said something about Kentucky fans and Tennessee fans are the leading delusional fans right now. I think people are forgetting Mizzou. A lot of SEC fans are like, oh, Mizzou doesn't even belong in the conference. Until Mizzou waxes that butt. They beat you senseless a little bit, and then you're like, oh, how did that happen? I think that people forget about Mizzou a little bit, and everybody wants to look towards Kentucky. And, hey, maybe Tennessee can do this. Eli Drinkwitz has a chip on his shoulders that is massive, on both shoulders. Some people have it. Some people go with a chip. He goes with half a tree. So there's that. Georgia fans and Texas fans, says Blake. We'll see how that works out. But from what I gather, here lately, Tennessee fans have been kind of, by the time we get to starting to buy Halloween costumes, you don't really hear much from Tennessee fans, especially on the show. During the season, I want to, there's something that I want to bring to the program. I want to have, at some point during the show, on Monday or Tuesday, I'd like to have a representation from all the SEC teams and all the ACC teams if we can get it. At least a good bit. Now, I know that I'll get Clemson and South Carolina fans because I'm here in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm sure that I'll get some Georgia fans because I've managed to irritate them senseless. I'll get some Alabama fans because Alabama fans are everywhere. I found a Kentucky fan the other day, but I want representation here on the show. Call up and rep your team. We're going to have that here on the rundown because Mondays are literally going to be from my friend Jonathan Reynolds, who used to have a show on here, Overreaction Monday. It's going to be Show Your Spirit Friday and Overreaction Monday. Call up and tell me on Friday why your team is going to win. And then call up on Monday and tell me why your coach should be fired because your team lost. That's what we're going to have. Edwin says Missouri will be the next one in the mix in the East with Georgia and Florida. The rest of the East is garbage. I agree, sir. I agree. But I don't think Mizzou's like the greatest thing ever, but I think that I think a lot of people think Mizzou's going to go 2-6 or whatever in the league, and that's not happening. That's not happening at all. JW13120 says Tennessee can't beat their way out of a wet McDonald's bag. Yep. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Anyway, Dylan also says, I think Missouri could be more of a threat in the East like Kentucky. I know they have a new OC, but I think it's going to take time to get their offense going. With Mizzou, the offense is pretty much run by Coach Drinkowitz. Shout out to the Mazodcast, by the way. You should be listening to that podcast simply because it's hilarious. And you get kind of for folks that don't really follow Mizzou, some folks think Mizzou doesn't belong in the SEC. Listen to the Mazodcast. It's hilarious. They have a chip on their shoulder too, but you learn about Mizzou football a little bit. And I call him Coach Drink because that's what they call him. But Coach Drinkowitz is the offensive mind up there. And defensively, they've got a new defensive coordinator, fresh from the NFL, who's going to hopefully come in and get them squared away. But the offensive side of the ball, last season, they had Nick Bolton, who, if you should know about, is going to be obviously playing in the NFL now. But Connor Bazelak and all those guys, they're going to be pretty good at Mizzou. I really believe that. Caden says Tennessee will change from the McDonald's bags to Burger King's bags. That's the only thing that will change for Tennessee this year. Look, we've said from the beginning, they should have went with Chick-fil-A bags because that's God's chicken. And that's just real. If you don't mess with God's chicken, you'll be just fine. Anyway, tomorrow on the program, we will be live from Charlotte for ACC kickoff. Myself, Lawton Swan. Yeah, got a great show planned for you up there. The majority of our guests they do the coastal teams tomorrow. We're still working on getting coastal guests, but we'll have Atlantic guests on Wednesday, including the Clemson contingent. We'll also have Coach Halfley, Coach the quarterback Jerkovic from Boston College. Some Dino Babers will be on the program on Wednesday as well. So we are looking forward to that. Going to be some good stuff coming to you the next couple of days. Gene Deckerhoff, the voice of Florida State, we are working to get him on the show just because I like to hear old-timey broadcasters, and he's still doing it. Picture Bob Fulton, Gamecock fans. That's what Deckerhoff is to Florida State. He's also the voice of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I wish I could do it justice. He fire those cannons. He's hilariously cool. Love some Mr. Deckerhoff, and hopefully he'll join us in the program. Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk is next.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Yes, follow Lawton on Twitter at Clemson Sports. He'll be happy to take your call today as we get moving here towards ACC kickoff. We'll talk with you tomorrow from Charlotte. Follow the show on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Podcast will be up at 5 o'clock today. Thanks for checking us out here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. You guys are awesome. You're funny. I'll talk to you guys later on, all right? We'll see you later.